What up? Welcome into Lambeau Speak, episode number 30, part 2. This is a Total Styles Podcast Network production. I'm Nate Wallen. You can find me on Twitter at Nate_Dirt19. I'm joined by Bobby Winter. You can find him on Twitter at Bobby A. Winter. How you doing, buddy?
Doing great. I mean, you saw the broadcast that every single channel, it seemed like the Packers didn't have a chance, right? Everybody, all the talking heads picked Dallas, and here they are, with a playoff win, with the youngest team to ever make the playoffs, youngest team to ever have a playoff win. So, it's starting to look like Lambeau South down there, right?
Hell yeah, that's right. Lambeau South will be 6-0 in that building. More playoff wins than the Cowboys. I know, I know, I don't want to rub salt in their wounds, but there was some talk on our Gilded chat prior to the game. The Cowboys fans were, they're a little nervous. And I mean, hell, I was nervous anyways, but just for their meetings, but they had some bad memories, this, that, and the other. And I guess those things are going to continue. But yeah, we'll get into all that. But you can find the show on Twitter at Toilet Titles. And you can check out our website, toiletstyles.com. All of our articles, content, everything we do, mock drafts, player rankings is all there. And you're watching us on YouTube, hit the like and subscribe button. We'd appreciate that. If you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts or iTunes, a 5-star review would be much appreciated. And last but not least, if you do want to interact with either one of us or anybody else, our Gilded chat is free. There's always stuff going on in there. It's a lot of fun. Every day there's stuff going, whether it's trade advice, start sit stuff, DFS stuff, gambling, just regular NFL talk. So hit us up. We can get you in there for free. You can email the show, totaltitles@gmail.com. They'll get you in there as well. Or you can just DM one of us and we'll get you in there. So, on to the good stuff. So, it was just everything seemed to click for us yesterday. There wasn't much that went wrong. A couple injuries that are upsetting, but, the offense just looked phenomenal. LaFleur had the game plan was great, and he, stuck to it. And, they definitely kept their foot on the gas, and that was nice to see. It seems like, I think we've talked about that before. Oh, hey, appreciate that, Joe. I know you were texting me yesterday. Look at that. And that's my guy.
Hey, thanks, Joe.
When and it happens a lot, when it doesn't matter necessarily a team, but they're up by 3 scores or whatever early, and they just kind of let off, and then before you know it, you're down by 2. And it was nice to see him do that. That 4th and 2 on the 3-yard line where they went for it. That alone, it's like, they want to put the last nail in this coffin. So it was good to see that.
Yeah, it's hard to know where to begin because so many things went right yesterday. But I think where I want to start is with the game plan that I said last week, what they needed to focus on, and the 2 things that they needed to do in order to win, which they elected to receive, which I said that they should, and they scored on their first drive. And really, like you said, they just never let their foot off the gas. That was crucial because they needed to play from a lead. I think both of our defenses, theirs and ours, are built to play from a lead. Our defensive line, they've been drafting all these penetration style defensive linemen that, if the shoe were on the other foot, I don't know how well the Packers would have played to come back, so that was crucial. And the other was obviously Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones just plays so well against this team. He has his entire career. Some of his best games ever have been against the Dallas Cowboys. I just didn't think that this one game would be any different. And he was a huge part of the game plan. I mean, he touched the ball more than Jordan Love threw the ball, which is huge. He averaged 5.6 yards a carry. He had 3 touchdowns. It just seemed like everything he wanted to do, he did. It seemed like the Cowboys had no answer for him, and you love to see it.
Yeah, it's just some, anytime that you can, pretty much impose your will and do whatever. We said that, the throws over the middle where Dobbs is wide open. Musgrave was wide open on that one, but I don't know if it was the play or if Dobbs recognizes the zone defense and is like, hey, we're gonna. Coach, I'm sorry. I know. Hey,
sorry, Coach.
We're sorry. We're sorry. But where he's wide, in the middle of the field, whether it's him recognizing the zone coverage and finding where to be, or it's the play calling, either way. But it was just fun to see that. So.
Hey. Now, I mean, the offensive line, you have to give the flowers to the offensive line as well. I mean, they were creating some pretty big holes for Aaron Jones to run through. Yeah. Obviously, Jones was doing his thing, but the offensive line has been playing exceptional over the last couple of weeks. It's been one of the main factors why Jordan Love's been playing so well. They didn't have a sack against him. And Jordan Love, I mean, he only threw the ball 21 times, but that's really all that was needed. He was 16 for 21 with 272 yards on just 16 completions. His yards per attempt have been going up and up and up ever since that midpoint of the season where the team really started to turn it around and he started to play better, which I don't know if you remember, but in the beginning of the season, we were like, man, he's pretty good. Just he's got to work on that deep ball. He's got to work on that deep ball. And he's just throwing it deeper and deeper down the field. And like, it looks effortless for him. He was again, phenomenal yesterday. And the other thing that makes it really special too, is we don't really have a number one wide receiver. Like going into the season, we were talking and we thought it was going to be Christian Watson. Like it was like a no-brainer thought. Oh, Christian Watson's going to be the number one wide receiver on this team. He's going to be our one receiver that'll probably hit 1,000 yards. But now here we are at the end of the season. We still don't know who our number one wide receiver is, but I think it's actually a benefit that we don't, because every game it seems like somebody else is stepping up and he's just taking whatever the defense gives him. There's been games where Jaden Reed was the number one wide receiver and he didn't have a catch yesterday. And Romeo Doubs kind of fell into, behind a couple of these rookies on the depth chart and had his biggest game ever yesterday. 6 for 151. He averaged 25 yards a catch. Yeah. With a touchdown. He was remarkable yesterday, especially over the middle of the field.
And I'm thinking that too. There was a couple plays too where I could see, when Watson was on the field, he obviously didn't play the full complement of snaps. Sorry. But he definitely draws some coverage, and I think that helps everybody out when, not that the coverage is getting rolled to him by any means, but, whether it's the safety over the top, they're kind of making sure they don't get beat over the top by him. So it kind of clears things out. It just helps everybody out. So having him back yesterday was big. Not that he had some phenomenal game, but it's just nice to have him back.
Absolutely. And like we were saying in part one,
yeah.
The middle of the field, I feel like they've unlocked something in this offense by attacking the middle of the field. We spoke about it, in the off season and at the beginning of this season, how one of the things we anticipated being different in this new offense, which is really the same offense, just LaFleur having, I guess, more of his control over it and less of Aaron Rodgers' control of it. But Rodgers did not like to throw over the middle of the field, and he hadn't for a number of years. But it seems like all these big plays now are coming across the middle of the field, and it's been a huge part of why this offense has really found itself and unlocked its potential, because it's not just any one player. I mean, it's the tight ends, it's the wide receivers, the teams spend all this money, or high draft picks on corners to lock down one side of the field and lock down another side of the field where, they just don't have the manpower to stop all this stuff in the middle of the field unless they have like an elite safety, but not too many teams do. So it's crucial. I believe that it's going to be their key to success if they have any chance next week of playing against the 49ers, which is going to be a tough task with their linebacking core.
Yeah, it is. That'll be that's a great defense, and Dallas was a great defense too. It didn't seem like they weren't able to do what they want to do, when they were playing from ahead, and makes things tough. But the Niners defense is very good too. Another great edge rusher, and I think. Hopefully Zach Tom's up to the challenge. I think he said he played well yesterday. He's been playing very well. There's just there's just so much that went right. I've said that a couple times, but it's hard to pinpoint, one thing. I thought the defense played well, at times. Keyshawn Nixon had a phenomenal game. The special teams played well. At what point do you tell? I mean, Kevontae Turpin had a couple good returns, but a couple not good returns. I don't know. At what point do you tell the guy, like, I guess it's just up to him. If he thinks he sees something, and I get that. That's how Keyshawn Nixon, I feel like, would bring it out of the end. He'd be 8 yards deep, and we're bringing it out. It's like, oh, whatever. If he thinks it's good, let's do it. But it get frustrating. You see, we're starting from the 10, we're starting from the 15. It's like, maybe I'll just fair catch it, which I hate that rule. Or just don't take it out of the end zone. But coverage wise, they did great. It was just and we only punted 3 times, and all 3 punts were very, very good.
Yeah, they were bombs.
Pin him inside the 10.
Every single one of them.
That was good to see. I don't know, and I guess if John was still watching, I'd ask him. But it's something was off with CD and Dak. I don't get. It was very odd, especially with the season that they had. Those two, Dak led the league in passing touchdowns. CD Lamb had a phenomenal, offensive player of the year caliber, season, and it just looked like those two, like, they weren't in sync or whatever it was. It was odd. And like I said, not that I watched every Cowboy game, so I don't know, but obviously it wasn't like that, all year. So it was weird to see where that came from.
Yeah, I feel like they had a couple of crucial mistakes in the beginning of the game, and the Packers just pounced on it. And like you said, never took their foot off the gas. They just kept going and going and going. And even on that one touchdown pass to Romeo Doubs, it was 4th and 2. And I'm thinking to myself, all right, they're up multiple scores. It's the second half of the game. Like, this is going to be a field goal, but there they are going for it on 4th and 2. And I'm like, are you kidding me right now? Like, I was like,
playbook.
Yeah. I was like, this is the kind of stuff that creates bad blood between teams. This is the kind of stuff where coaching staffs aren't friendly with each other anymore. But
that blood was already bad at that point. What was it 41 to 40 to 20 something?
Sure. Yeah. But I mean, that was crazy. And I'm sitting there, I'm watching, I'm like, I can't believe they're not kicking the field goal right now. But I was like, but you know what? I'm here for it. And I love it. It was a beautiful pass to Romeo Doubs. Romeo Doubs just like took a perfect angle, caught it as he was falling down. It was so sick. It was one of his best passes of the night.
Yeah. And then the other one went to go up 20-0 when the touchdown to Wicks, again with Love and, changing, calling audibles or the checks, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Just, and he knows, the play clock's running down, and it's like, it's still just, it's crazy how the growth has been there, and it's,
Absolutely.
It's been awesome. I mean, and I said it a couple times, they're playing with house money. They're just, it's got fun. And
yeah, that pass to Dontavian Wicks was one of the best plays I've seen from the Packers all season. Yeah. He correctly identified the blitz, right? And he's been very good against the blitz, Obviously, blitzes still work, and that's why teams still do it. So there's times where he will take a sack, or he'll make a boneheaded play, or he has to throw it away. But he identified that the blitz was coming and knew that part of the field was going to be vacated. I mean, that was up against Gilmore, too. That was not only before the snap was that brilliant, but after the snap, I mean, he got the ball out of his hands in an instant, and he put it perfect right in the spot that he needed to. It was one of the best passes I've seen from him all year. And it was, in my opinion, one of the plays of the game.
Yeah, no, it was something else. That almost felt like that was like an early dagger right there. Going up 3 scores in the first half is never something that, anybody can come back from, but, you can, but I mean? It's just, it takes whatever wins left in your sails is pretty much gone at that point.
For sure.
It was, they said the dominance continues at AT&T Stadium. I don't know. After the game, I've never seen Jerry so deflated and upset. I mean, he just, it was, you feel, you halfway feel bad for the old man. But, I don't know where they go from here.
Yeah, it's going to be tough because, I mean, how much of that can you really throw onto Mike McCarthy?
Well, if you're throwing on Mike McCarthy, they need to look at Dan Quinn. His
That's what I'm
defense gave
saying.
up 48 points. It's not Mike McCarthy's defense. I mean, it is Mike McCarthy's defense, but
Right.
Hell, Dan Quinn's got 4 defensive coordinator or 4 head coaching interviews this week.
Right.
So
yeah, that's what I'm saying is like, they let up 48 points to, I mean, no offense, but like they're the youngest team in the NFL. The Dallas was the number 2 seed. I'm not gonna lie, nobody saw this coming.
No.
But I did feel a little optimistic about it because I felt like this team, they were so young that they didn't know any better. Like you said, they were playing with house money. All the pressure was on Dallas. So I made a couple of bets. And I'm glad that I did because not only did the Packers win, but I won a little bit of money too. Jordan Love over 1.5 passing touchdowns. No brainer. I took the Packers on the money line. That was my homer bet. And obviously hit that. And then the other was the Aaron Jones rushing yards. I had to put my money where my mouth was. Yep. I said that they needed to put the ball in Aaron Jones's hands if they had any shot of winning, and they did, and it won me some money.
Hell yeah. So, hell yeah.
Yeah, the 2 I didn't hit was Jaden Reed anytime touchdown, just because of how Jaden Reed's been playing in the back half of the season.
I bet on that too, and it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. But that just goes back to, not knowing who the number 1 wide receiver is. He's just he'll disperse the ball depending on wherever whatever the defense gives him. Whoever's open, they're getting the ball because it seems like he trusts everybody the same, which is remarkable and a far cry from what we've been dealing with for the last 15 years.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, it's wild. I mean, the whole, I don't know. Like I said, it's hard to say. Even everything was just so right. The one thing I forgot to say, did you know that? Like I said, I didn't realize. I forgot that LaFleur was on Dan Quinn's coaching staff in Atlanta in 2016.
That's right.
I kind of forgot that. That was kind of
funny. It was Matt Ryan's quarterback coach.
Yeah, but there's some stat I read about that, and I don't remember what it was now, so it doesn't matter. But I still can't find that goal to go thing. I'm looking to see what it was. Like I said, they're 20-21 in goal to go situations this season, which is like
remarkable. It's got to be close to some NFL record or something like that. Because
it's been forever since somebody's been like that. I remember the stat said yesterday, but I can't find it on the internet, so I don't know.
Right, because I remember even with Rodgers in that one MVP season, remember with like the gold zone, I don't think they were that efficient. I mean, they were like really efficient, but I don't think they were 20 for 21. That's insane.
Yeah, it doesn't. I mean, that just it's like I said. It just seems like some things just go right, and it's just how it's going to go, I guess. So,
yeah.
But yeah, it was awesome. I do want to talk about our Patreon real quick. Patreon.com/ToiletsTitles. If you're interested, check it out. There's 6 different tiers. We'd love the support. The ones that do support us, thank you guys so much for helping us out. We really appreciate it. We had a meeting Sunday night. Talked about some different stuff we're going to be doing for the Patrons. I'm not going to say any of that yet, but keep tuned in to the shows on the network and things like that. If you're already a member, you'll know about what's coming up pretty soon. But a lot of really cool stuff coming up this off season for the Patrons, and things are going to continue throughout the rest of this season and the next season too. So patreon.com/ToiletsTitles. If you got questions, you can DM me or you can email the show toiletsTitles@gmail.com. So I want to get that in before. If you're ready to move on to talk about the divisional round.
Actually, yeah, there was just a couple of things I wanted to touch on because we didn't really speak too much about the defense. That, let's be real, they played especially well.
Yep.
Unfortunately, we did suffer 2 injuries on the defensive side. Jair Alexander got roughed up a little bit, so hopefully he'll be okay and he could play next week. We'll find out more about that soon. But unfortunately, Kingsley Enagbare.
That's the worst. I'm upset.
Yeah, we're a pro Kingsley Enagbare podcast.
Big time.
Yeah. So, like he said, he's been playing really well down the stretch. I mean, he's just a really good football player. He's a good rotational guy to have on the outside. He's productive. He's a good team guy. So we're sad to see that because, I mean, unless he has some miraculously speedy recovery, he might miss all of next year, or maybe he comes back towards the back half of the season or something. But yeah, I mean, you hate to see it,
Yeah.
Yeah. But Keyshawn Nixon was all over the place.
11 tackles, had a sack. Gosh darn it, he was good.
Yeah, he was incredible. Jair had the interception, of course, which was
Darnell with the pick 6.
Darnell with the pick six. I mean, that was one of Darnell Savage's best games. And I mean, we didn't have a lot of interceptions on the year. That was one of the knocks against our defense was, they didn't allow a ton of points for the vast majority of the season, but they weren't creating a lot of takeaways. So it was fantastic to see 2 in the first half of this game. That was remarkable. Lucas Van Ness had a sack, and Preston Smith also had a sack. And Preston Smith, man, he's aging like fine wine.
He's
awesome. I feel like he's just as good this year as he was 3 years ago.
Yeah. And Kenny Clark looked good. I thought Carl Brooks played well too. It's nice to have that rotation that everybody can do a little bit to help.
Yes.
And it's not all on one guy, not all on Kenny Clark or whoever you want to say. It's nice to see the rotation works. Devondre played good. Isaiah McDuffie, Quay Walker. They just the team effort. I mean, I don't know. You can't really say much more than that. Just the whole defense played well. I guess I'll give Joe Barry some credit. Hard to say that.
Outside of the last 6 minutes. But, I mean, let's be real. The last 6 minutes, it was garbage time. And LaFleur also took out all of the starters.
Yeah.
So they were playing second and third team players. Yeah, they let up 2 more scores in, what was it, 4 minutes? So, I mean, not ideal, but, I feel like LaFleur learned his lesson. It was something that, I think he realized, oh, wow, I think I pulled the starters too soon. Like, this is a playoff game. This is the second seed in the NFC. Like, maybe we should keep our foot on the gas a little bit longer before he starts making decisions like that. I mean, after those 2 scores, you saw the first team offense and defense come back out, though, which was probably the right decision. It would have been so disappointing to have such a lead for such a long time in that game, only for it to come back and be a lot closer toward the end. Like we should have won with a wider margin.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the scoreboard doesn't really depict how close the game was, and
right,
40 million people watching it, they knew.
True story. And then special teams. The special teams, Anders is becoming
a lot of
more
practice.
Consistent.
Get a lot of practice.
He certainly did. Yeah, I was watching the game with my brother, and I even said to myself out loud, or I said to him out loud, I was like, if this game is good for anything, it's good to give Durs more in-game practice, because when you score 48 points, you're going to get a lot of opportunities to kick field goals. But, he had the one miss, but then he made the rest of them, thank goodness. But yeah, I mean, we're going to need him. The games are just going to get tougher from here on out. And I think we have our toughest test coming up next week in the number 1 seed in the NFC.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be something. I don't know. I mean, I've always thought maybe it's just because we always lose when this happens, but like being the number 1 seed, it was always tough for the Packers, having that time off. Not that you get rusty, but just kind of, their team coming in is hot. And I mean, the Packers obviously hot with, Jordan's thrown 21 touchdowns the last 8 games or 9 games, something like that.
Yeah.
It's on fire. And I mean, maybe it stops, whatever. I don't know. I feel good. I mean, hell, the Vikings beat the shit out of the 49ers somehow. And that's Kirk Cousins without Justin Jefferson.
That's true.
Like I said, anything can happen. I mean, like I said, who thought we were going to drop 48 points on the Dallas Cowboys and win that game?
You're right.
Every pundit on TV sure as hell didn't, and feels good. So especially that long-haired jabroni on that show, whatever I was telling you about before the thing.
First
I hate
things
that.
First. Nick
things
Wright.
first. I've never watched the show. I've just seen clips of him. That guy sucks. I don't know his name. He sucks.
His name's Nick Wright. He used to run the show with Chris Carter.
Whatever. He's a jabroni.
Yeah, but now they have like a whole table of guys and
a bunch of clowns on there telling it so much all it is. I can't accept that guy's the worst. The worst. Every time I see him on Twitter, I get pissed.
Worse than Skip?
Yeah, worse than Skip.
Oh, that's hard to do.
Yeah, it is, but I can't do it. Like dang it, he makes me mad.
Yeah. Well, Twitter has been a gold mine for the last 24 hours.
Wild.
It's been just the best. It's so good. Like, I don't know if anybody listening, if you're on Packers Twitter, but if you're not, you need to get on there. It is
even if you're not a Packers fan, I mean, not a Cowboys fan, but other teams, you'd probably still laugh at some of it. It's wild.
It is fantastic. But, one thing that you had said that actually just kind of those times, the number one, number two, Rodgers was doing those MVP years and everything. Just like with Dallas, all the pressure is going to be on the 49ers.
Yep.
We're still playing with house money. We're still the youngest team in the NFL to have made the playoffs and win a playoff game. And let's be real, it's all about getting hot at the right time, just like we did in 2010. Were we the best team in 2010? No. But we got hot at the right time, and we started to win when the games mattered.
Yep.
And that's all we got to do, right?
Exactly. Like I said, same game plan as last week.
Absolutely.
That's huge. And just keep riding the hot hand. And
the 49ers are a better team, in my opinion, all around than the Dallas Cowboys.
I agree.
Maybe a difference at quarterback. I feel like Dak had a better season than, but the rest of the team is just so stacked. I mean, they have 4 Pro Bowlers on offense or 5 Pro Bowlers on offense, and their defense, it just seems like it doesn't matter who coaches that defense. It's just going to keep being good, which means the players are amazing. You got Fred Warner in the middle.
All pro Fred Warner. He's so good.
Absolutely. One of the best, if not the best linebackers in football. So, and typically Aaron Jones does not have big games against the 49ers, but that could change. I mean, he's been on a heater. Jordan Love's been on a heater. I feel like you said, just stick with the game plan. We know what works for this team right now. Just come out, do the thing, and see what sticks, see how well we do. I mean, if we lose, nobody's going to be, I mean, obviously they'll be disappointed, because, you lost in the playoffs. But like I said, all the pressure's on them.
Yep.
Nobody's going to expect us to win next week. Nobody. It's going to be the same thing that we just experienced this week. All the people on TV, they're all going to pick the 49ers. And maybe now one person will pick the Packers, but I just don't see anybody giving the Packers the benefit of the doubt. It's going to be a tough task, but anything could happen.
Yeah, without a doubt. And I who knows? That's why they suit up on Sundays to play, or Saturdays this week. Like I said, because you don't know. And I mean, I think we're 10-point dogs, which whatever, I don't care.
We were 7-point dogs last week, and
yep. So, and I don't know what that. I think it opened at 10. I didn't look the last couple hours to see if it's moved at all, but
Dude,
I said
this team's so young they don't care.
They don't give a shit. Santa Clara's hasn't been our friend, but that was the old Packers.
Exactly. So. That's I was just telling my friend that I'm like, this is a completely different Packers team because let's be real, the 49ers have had our number over the last 5 years. They have.
Oh yeah.
But this is a completely different team than then. Our entire offense is completely different. We have different playmakers. It is not just the Devontae Adams show anymore. We have wide receivers all the way down the depth chart that Jordan Love trusts just as much as the first guy on the depth chart. Aaron Jones, he's playing some of his best ball in his career right now. The offensive line has looked fantastic.
Yep.
And why not? Why not the Packers?
And why not us?
Why not us?
Yeah. So, yeah, it'll be fun. Like I said, I'm looking forward to Saturday night, and we'll be back next week with some more. Like I said, either happy or sad. So, hopefully happy. But
could you imagine?
I can't. It's been wild.
Let's be real. If we beat the 49ers, what team are you scared of that's remaining in the playoffs?
The Ravens.
No, on the NFC. Yeah, the Ravens are obviously terrifying. But on the NFC side.
Yeah. I mean, I'm
not afraid of any of them.
Sure as hell ain't going to be the Eagles. They got a long way to come back now. So
yeah, Hurts is not playing well right now.
He's hurt.
He is hurt, but he's also making bad decisions on some of these throws.
That's Sirianni's going to get fired. So
you think?
I hope so. That's Justin's favorite coach. Hopefully Justin's listening. He's going to chime in. That's his favorite guy. He loves Sirianni.
Yeah, I mean, they do have a lot of injuries right now. You know what I mean? You can't.
That's just how the Philly is, though. They're like, the locker room's kind of turning against each other. It's like, hell, it's coach's fault. So that's everybody knows that.
Yeah.
But anyways, check out the show on Twitter, Total Styles. Check out the website, totalstyles.com. Check out our Gilded chat. Hit us up if you want to get in that. Our Patreon. If this is on Apple, hit a 5-star review would be great. If you're on YouTube, like and subscribe, hit the little bell so you know we're going live. Got a ton of stuff coming up, the draft and the rest of the off season. So stay tuned in. And like I said, we'll see y'all next week. Go Pack, go. And,
Go Pack, go.
Hopefully things stay the same. See you.